Hello and welcome back to another edition of 343 from Sportycast, episode 148. I'm your host, Jason. And yeah, for the loyal viewers, you might be sensing something different. Normally, myself and AF report from HQ, we've now sent him on a fact finding mission. We wanted to see how this guy always gets VIP tickets at Real Madrid. So we've sent AF to go check up on Ziad in Dubai. So from Parker and Parker HQ, talk to me. How's it going, lads?
No, not too bad. I thought I'm going to get the VIP box treatment over here, but unfortunately that didn't pan out. But yeah, happy to be here, man.
But I'd only admit one on that box. So it
Yeah,
malfunctioned when
no,
it saw two people.
nah, that's fair. Look, questions have to be asked about his membership, whether the subs have been paid, whether he maybe had to pawn the ticket off for Christmas presents. Who knows? But it is that time of the year, so we are back with another episode. Obviously, football is happening at a very rapid rate with so many things, so many games happening, different competitions. There's a bit of a crossover, bit of a multi-universe sort of a thing happening. So yeah, we've got a jam-packed episode. We're going to talk about what's happened the weekend. We're going to talk about Salah. Arguably, the script was written for him to get involved in some form, some shape or form. So we're going to chat about that. We're going to talk about United, whether we want to talk about the fact that they can score as many goals as they want to, or that they can just let in as many goals as they want to. We'll talk about a few own goals that saved Arsenal's egg on their face. And then, yeah, we've got a few spicy encounters coming up. And then hopefully we'll have some time to do a bit of a transfer segment just to bow out. This is our last episode of the year, so please, if you are new, if you are joining for the first time, please do follow us there. And then also, yeah, just like and subscribe, please. We really do appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We are getting closer. If you're feeling generous, maybe you'll steal your auntie's phone and subscribe from her account. Who knows? But I'll leave that in your capable hands. AF, seen as the wound is still very new and very recent, I'm going to jump to United versus Bournemouth. Yeah, look, Bournemouth's form hasn't been the best, is it? And you kind of expected United to win, and for most part, it looked like it was. Talk to me about that last 10 minutes. What were your emotions and where were they?
Man, it's so crazy because like you're speaking about Bournemouth's form, right? And with that coupled, you have Antoine Semenyo's form, no goal in 7 games, and we just gave him a way back in over there. Our defense was a shambles for majority of the evening. Um, that was probably the best opening 40 minutes or 35 minutes that I've seen from a Man United team under Ruben Amorim. And I don't know who leaked the news that there's going to be some sort of formation change for the game. And man, if I feel like if that had to stand under wraps, Bournemouth wouldn't have expected what happened. We played really good football, but our defense, for a guy playing five defenders every single game, we are conceding way too many goals, and it's so easy. Every team knows how easy it is to get in. So yeah, man. Bittersweet, good goals scored, but man, like the defensive fumbles that we've been doing is crazy.
It is Christmas time, it is the season of giving. So can you fault Ruben Amorim for firstly giving the lineup out early, leaking it, one of Santos Owls getting out there, and then also just giving up possession in silly areas, giving up chances. And I think that shows the quality of the Premier League, maybe, just because any team, if they sniff a chance, they're going to finish. Ziad, the game started at 10 p.m. SA time for us, so 12 your side. Did you catch the game? Did you catch the highlights? Or did you just follow all the subsequent drama afterwards on the timelines?
Yeah, I just followed afterwards. I mean, I got all the reactions. When I went to sleep, I think it was 1-0 United. I wasn't going to stay up. It's way too late. And when I woke up, I just saw my phone just had tons of messages in all the different groups about the chaos that ensued. But yeah, I think the most interesting thing I saw was game of the season so far. And it probably was for the neutral 8 goal thriller. So yeah, they definitely entertaining us. That's for sure.
I don't think it was as
Nah,
entertaining as
100%.
the Man City Fulham game that
Yeah,
Man City like won late 5-4. So
yeah.
I think that they were just trying to go for a replica of that, trying to ensure that the blue side of Manchester doesn't keep on overshadowing them in every aspect.
You know, if it's me, and I mean, not that you can like the word of an Arsenal fan much, but I think if you don't want to let the blue side be in control, you'd maybe win some stuff. You know, that's how you kind of balance it out. I don't think conceding lots of goals is the way you sort of balance it out. But again, I'm an Arsenal fan. I've won many trophies on FIFA, so that's about it. There's some comments here. Obviously, our mainstay is Riaz saying that he doesn't like the low on the left. Saying that, I think the Low's got like 3 goals and assists in the last 3 games. So maybe
Yeah.
Amorim is doing something right with him.
He
Ramiz
moved to
is
the
saying that he
right
doesn't
though
like
after
the
the
low on the
formation changed.
yeah. But Ramiz is saying that he doesn't like the low on the pitch. Um, yeah, look, he seems to be hit and a miss. And on Monday in that first half, he was definitely a hit. I don't know when he went off, at what point the scoreline was when he went off, but then things definitely did change. We spoke a bit about Kobe Mino, and look, in our little walk around on Sunday, we did speak about his role in the team. Were you happy to see him come onto the field, AF, and that 30-minute cameo?
That 30-minute cameo was really, really good, but then it was overshadowed by his idiotic brother who wore that free Kobe Mainu t-shirt. I mean, and that's what everybody's speaking about now. So nobody's speaking about how good of an impact he had on the field after he came off the bench. Everybody's speaking about his brother trying to make these messages. And I mean, surely Kobe Mainu had to have known that his brother was going to pull off something like this. It's always one of these players' brothers, right? Konacho, we had his brother was a problem. Kobe Mainu now exactly the same. Somebody needs to advise these young players much better in terms of what their family members are doing.
Nah, 100%. And then maybe Ziad, just on that point. I mean, you're obviously in a different sporting sector, but is it something that you see prevalent in cricket as well, where the family is actually the cost and not so much the player?
We're having some technical difficulties here.
Oi, oi, oi. Are you back? Can you hear me? Guys, look here. This is why I don't send AF. That's why I don't send AF that side. Because look, Ziad is the one that's allowed to have technical difficulties. AF is supposed to be my solid guy now, and now both of them are stuck next to each other. I can sort of hear some sort of movement. Are you guys back? Do you have movement? Nah, okay. Look, Ramiz, I think this might be my own show right now. Yeah, I see Sonic has joined the chat to trust in Maresca. Please, let's just hold on for these comments and also stay to the section where we discuss Chelsea. You you just
Can you
talk
hear me
once you're
now?
back.
Back.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Talk to me.
So I was gonna say with United, I think it's fairly simple. The transfer policy should just be sign players with no brothers. Then that would eliminate
Okay.
that issue.
Yeah.
Right? Simple. Just look, how many siblings do you have? You have a brother, you can't play for United. Klar, it's not difficult.
Or maybe much like AF, AF wanted to come to the Madrid section. They revoked your +1 status. Simple as that. Keep the brothers, let them support, and then maybe, yeah, get the hackers, Mr. Robots, to get in and make sure the social media accounts are inactive. Yeah, but look, it was that first off, AF, just to finish off on United so that Ramiz can rejoin the chat. That first off was probably some of the best football I've seen in a while from United. It was free flowing. There were so many chances being created. And I actually remember sitting next to Dan and she's like, we should be up 3-0 because something's going to happen. and then I think it was Semenyo that scored like immediately after that. You then did go into the break 2-1 up with a nice Casemiro header, but then you literally gave it up as soon as they got the one back. I think they got the second, then it went 3. I'm not sure the sequence of order, but I know it was 4-3 at the stage, and Amorim gesturing to the players to just keep some focus, and that focus went. And there's a whole lot of things we can nitpick, but it's fine. Let's not stay on United for too much, actually. I'm going to talk just about Mo Salah briefly. Obviously, Liverpool struggling at first. I think Brighton played exceptionally well, and then also didn't score, and then immediately Liverpool get something. I don't think Salah nor the fans or the coach expected for that cameo to come that soon. Zia, did you catch that? Is that a game that you were covering? And just that crowd's emotion,
Yeah.
Salah was on the line, man.
I was covering that game. It was quite interesting actually because you kind of knew he was going to come on. We had a feeling that they
Yeah.
had to include him somehow, but not that early. And then I think for me the interesting part was that when he did come on, it looked like they were trying to find him. All the passes seemed to look for him. You know, they were
Yeah.
trying to play through his side of the field, and he actually did fairly well. But there was almost a bit of indecision from him. Do I try and do what I always do and be greedy and score goals, which is fine with me? Or do I try and set up other people? And I think he went into that mode of trying to find others when Salah in his prime and in good form would just score.
Yeah.
He's not trying to set up another guy, you know. So
Yeah.
I thought he was really good. He missed a couple of chances, you know, which I don't know if it's karma or what it is, but I thought he was good value. And Liverpool played in a way that suited him as opposed to the other times this season where I
Yeah.
don't think they really, you know, played to his strengths. But it was good to see him. I mean, I'm obviously not a Liverpool fan, but I feel like it all worked out fairly well. And I can actually see him coming back and having a role to play for Liverpool for the rest of the season.
No, for sure. And also, I mean, look, I know there's a few fans that wouldn't want to say it outright, but they're kind of waiting for Egypt to not go too far. I think with the recent injury to Szoboszlai, who's out till Feb, so he's basically going to his own AFCON, and he's going to be out. So that's two key players that Liverpool now lose, on top of the expensive signing that's still trying to find his feet. There might be three men down, or 4 men actually, because it's 2 expensive signings that haven't found their feet yet. So, yeah, interesting time going to the Christmas period for Liverpool. We've got Sadiq in the chat. He's saying bring back Thiago Silva. I don't know if that's possible. Surely there should be an age cap now on players coming back. But yeah, just briefly, we had previewed Chelsea v Everton, and I think we pegged Everton to put up more of a fight. But hey, if the return of Cole Palmer seemed to galvanize them, and that 2-0 maybe, maybe sets him up for a good few weeks coming up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I also think like the fact that Maresca has players like Malo Gusto starting right back, coming into midfield, getting like he's basically that extra body in midfield. And if you compare that to how Riaz hated the fact that Trent used to come into midfield for Liverpool, it's 2 totally different things because Malo Gusto can actually track back and defend. So I think that like he was very like vital and important in that win. Cole Palmer got the goal, yes, but Gusto, he was just running the show for majority of that game, and I don't think Everton knew how to deal with his runs. There was always somebody losing him every single time. So yeah, like I think that they're happy that Cole Palmer's back on the sheet and he's back playing for them again. But Malo Gusto, he deserves the flowers for that victory against Everton.
No, for sure. And I think his form and his availability is probably the most important thing going into this period, especially with Reece James, sometimes slotting in the midfield, but also not the most reliable. In this last few seasons we've seen, he hasn't done too much. Ziad, last year we had Maresca talking about how they're not in the title race, how they're not anywhere close to being competitive and all those things. They're now sitting on 28 points. They are, if I'm mistaken, they're 8 points off Arsenal. But further to that, they're 6 points off City. Do you think that Chelsea kick on now? Is the system going to work? Is it going to flow a bit better? Is Palmer going to be that catalyst for them going into Christmas and early New Year?
I think after the Arsenal result, they would have expected to kick on, but they didn't. So I think it was 4 games where they went without a win after that draw. And, they found a bit of form now. So it's a storyline to watch. I'm not convinced. And I think what he says to the media is just all part of the mind games. Him, Arteta,
Yeah.
Guardiola, I mean, they studied him basically. So he
Yeah.
definitely believes he got a competitive squad. There's no way that he's telling those players they're not good enough or they're too young or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
I think that's just to get the media off their back. They have enough weapons. It's just can you figure out how to use them properly. The biggest issue they have is last season, essentially, they could play a full B team in the Conference League. Whereas this
Yeah.
season, he's had to manage his squad differently because the Champions League is obviously more important than the
Yeah.
Conference League. And he hasn't quite got the balance right of who to rotate when and which players should
Yeah.
be playing together. Obviously, there's injuries that make it a bit difficult, but you kind of
Yeah.
need to know who your front three are, the plan A front three, and then the backup front three, because then they can develop
Yeah.
that chemistry. Because with Chelsea, it's always new players all the time, so they
Yeah.
need time to develop those relationships, know who's gonna make what type of run and so on. So I think Chelsea will hang in there, but I don't think they're gonna kick on and really challenge for anything above third place.
Okay, that's fair. Look, you probably made another. Well, I wouldn't say you made another enemy. I think Sadik's always been an enemy of Ziad. That's just how it is. But I think he's not going to take too kindly to that. But now, just talking about your team, Arsenal, left it a bit late. I think we got tired of the corner gimmick, right? Then we got tired of the open play gimmick. Do you see the own goal gimmick coming to the fore now, where we don't want to score, we let the other team score for us? What are your thoughts on that game? Was it a bit slow? Was it a bit lethargic? Can you see the legs giving a bit?
I have zero thoughts for that. I don't care anymore. I just wait for the
Yeah.
outcome. How we play, I don't care if the goalkeeper scores the goals or if it's all own goals. I'm past it. All I want is 3 points.
3 points is 3
Yeah.
points, man.
So I mean, we can talk
Around
about it
this
all
time
the
of the
time.
year,
We don't
AF,
do this, we don't do that.
these things don't.
I'm
Yeah,
just
these things
taking
don't
3
really
points.
matter.
Thank you.
It's just points are what we're wanting to accumulate. But AF, do you see that there's maybe a vulnerability in Arsenal's game at the moment that could be exploited by teams? Sitting deep and then maybe having a 6'7" striker who can just flick on anything. AF, I'm not sure if you got
I
that.
don't know. Can you
I think.
ask?
Yeah. No, I can hear you. I just want
You
to
broke
know.
up. You broke up there.
Yeah, so I think
Oh,
you're talking about the own goals, right? Valdemada's
yeah.
brilliant goal.
No, that was a classy finish.
There was quite a
Okay,
few
fair
actually
play.
in the weekend. It's weird, man,
Yeah,
how these things happen.
but it also, that's look, it is part and part. I think Voltemada's goal probably is better than the two own goals that we saw at the Emirates. Voltemada put that one, and that derby game was on a knife edge. I don't know if you guys saw Sunderland, instead of putting Newcastle's name there, they put visitors, which is kind of the spice that I think's been
That shows
lacking
the hate.
in. Yeah, and I think more teams should do that. I think more teams should be actually trying to incorporate the traditional rivalries, instead of making it so PC. There's certain ways you can make it more exciting for the fan. That's just something to look out for. Other games that possibly might have piqued people's interest. City 3-0, absolutely flying. Foden seems to have picked up form at the right time. I think he's trying to make his way onto Santa's nice list. He's been a bit naughty in that he's been absent in form. Spurs, obviously, Riaz isn't here. We'd want to make fun of him more, but he is.
Did he check out?
Riaz is in the comments, but I think he was kind of saving up all his energy for the Spurs chat. Look, Nottingham Forest also a team that hasn't won too many. But yeah, I think there was a tweet going about saying that there is a tweet going out that said, like, everybody thinks their system works until they play against West Ham. And it's actually that they're playing against West Ham. But it could be flipped, right? And Spurs could be the team where people test out their form and their formation and their system, and we see if it works, right? Because, yeah, Spurs are so inconsistent, much like West Ham. We also thought West Ham were doing something this weekend, and then Villa came back. Also, some own goals in that game as well. So that might be the new thing. Everybody was focused on getting set piece goals. Now it's, can you put in a cross in a dangerous area to get an own goal? We have a comment here, and then let's just see quickly. We've got Nilan who's saying, will Arsenal win the league? I'm hoping so. If we show the form that's in your profile picture, I'm sure we will. That looks like strong form at that chest machine. Riaz is saying we give people form. How about giving your own team some form? There's also quite a few interviews going around, or clips of Mickey van der Ven's interview when he talked about his time under Ange and how they didn't have anything going, and Ange. So it's a pretty damning interview to come out now. If you need anything, we'll give it to you. Don't say that, because Liverpool are playing you guys this weekend. I think that's your favorite team to play against. And last comment, just talking on Sadiq. He says Arsenal's next 6 fixtures in the league are all against teams that they dropped points to last season. I'm not sure why that's an enough
Did
face
this
for
guy do
me.
some research here?
Yeah, look, this is the most prepared he's ever been for anything. And I went to high school with him. I sat next to him for about 3 years of accounting. So, yeah, this guy is actually doing the work here. But yeah, that kind of wraps up the review. We want to talk just a little bit. Everybody was talking about Spurs and Liverpool, but I want to talk about Villa, because Villa have United. They're 3 points off the top. I think they've done exceptionally well. They've gone under the radar. It says a lot for me to say that. Unai always has a hater in me. If they're coming, or they're welcoming United this weekend. What are your thoughts on Villa's form thus far? And also just, going into this game, what are our thoughts going into welcoming Man United?
Now, as a United fan, I'm scared. Like, Villa have been really, really good, even in games when they haven't really played well. They've sort of like grinded out a victory or a positive result. The fact that Ollie Watkins hasn't been on form, but everybody else has really chipped in with goals, going as far back to Kamara in the CDM position. I don't know if he's leaving for AFCON though. I can't recall. But yeah, it's just like there's a lot of players in that team that's been putting their hands up in the absence of Ollie Watkins not like really being in the best of form. And Morgan Rogers is just like leveling up week in, week out. When Diaz coming off the bench and doing his thing. John McGinn, he's also like his leadership on the pitch has been really, really good. You could see him like just like hyping up all the players, pumping them up when the heads are like falling in those moments. Even somebody like Victor Lindelof coming to Villa this season, bringing his experience with, he looked really good this past weekend. I think that was only his second start or third start this season. But yeah, like the bit part players, the bench players, they all doing their bit. Bizot was keeper this past weekend. I think Martinez was either suspended or injured. I don't know really. But yeah, like everybody's putting their hands up, and they're bearing the fruit at the end of it. I think 2 or 3 points behind Arsenal on the league on the log.
No, definitely. I think, again, everything's been made about, maybe Liverpool's fall off after they were leading. And I mean, City were not doing too well. Now they've picked up form. Arsenal, sort of stumbling around. Villa's done exactly what they needed to do, pick up the wins, grind it out. So, yeah, I just want to ask Ziad, who is sitting next to a Man United fan, if you can maybe sense the nerves coming off. We've got Ahmed that's not going to be at the game. We got Mbumo, who's the two main front players, Ahmad, the right wing back. Ramiz is saying Casemiro's out. where is the goals going to come from? Are we going to see Bruno Fernandes again pull a rabbit out of a hat? Or is Mateus Cunha, does he have something for AF and AF's nerves?
Look, his leg has been shaking here the whole time since we started talking about United. So I can definitely attest to that. But I think it will be difficult with them losing their whole right side of the attack essentially. Um, but Cunha has done it before with Wolves being a lone ranger. So I think he can carry the load or lead the line if he needs to. It's just figuring out what they do with Bruno. Can they push him more further forward? That might help their cause. But in doing that, then who plays in midfield? So it's going to be interesting to see who they put in which positions now to cover the guys that they've left. But I think a lot of teams have similar issues. A lot of teams are losing influential players to AFCON. I think Villa included. So it could be an interesting period in the league.
Yeah.
I think that the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1, whatever formation Amorim changed to in the Bournemouth game, was made because he knows that he's losing Ahmad, Mbuemo, and Mazraoui to the AFCON. So he's sort of like tried to find a plan B for that time, and maybe if it's successful enough, it sticks. Unfortunately, Casemiro also suspended for the game. So that means Ugarte probably starts. So that's an easy filler goal in the first 10 minutes, probably. Or Ugarte red card sometime during the game. But yeah, I'm not optimistic about this game at all.
Nah, that's fair. We had an interesting comment. So for those that are in the chat that maybe didn't know, we did a bit of a walkabout on Sunday. And one of the guys that we spoke to, he spoke about Shea Lacey, right? And I think at the time he was talking about him coming in. And AF, maybe you know a bit more about him. Do you see that this AFCON period being a window for the academy players, even after what Amorim said about, the likes of Harry Amas? I think he was talking about Cheeto as well. Do you think that the academy players who should be so excited to kind of have a chance to break in kind of play with a bit of reservation if they were to be selected?
I don't think Amorim's comments would make a change at all. He criticized Harry Amas after Harry Amas last week just won Player of the Month for Sheffield Wednesday. He said that he was struggling over there. And then he spoke about Cheeto Obi also after he scored a couple of goals in the last couple of weeks for the under-21s. So I don't know, man. I think that he just doesn't trust the youth, and he'd rather trust the more experienced players, the ones that he's spent money on getting into the club, like Patrick Dorgu for 40 million, who runs around like a headless chicken for most of the game. So yeah, man, it's not great. The club is built on the backbone of youth and sort of promoting those players from the academy. Shea Lacey has the talent. I don't know, he hasn't played a senior game yet, so it's going to be it's not going to be fair to him to say that he comes in and he's going to change things around and stuff like that. But I mean, there were games where United were in control. The game against Wolves, up 4-1 with about 15 minutes to play, give him a taste of first team football then. But then instead he brought on two centre backs and Patrick Dorgu. So there's that.
No, that's fair. Look, I'm going to jump straight into a few predictions here. Ziad, give me what your thoughts are. It's a Sunday night kickoff, 6:30, our time, SA time. The only game on Sunday, actually. And if things go their way, Villa could potentially, both City and Arsenal play, Villa could either go level on points or keep that three-point gap. What are your thoughts? What's the score prediction like? Your former man, Unai Emery, managing Villa.
Yeah, I think United have been scoring quite a bit recently, but I think they'll struggle a bit against Villa this time around. I actually don't see a draw coming, Riaz, but thanks for getting ahead of that. I think Villa edge it 2-1.
Okay, fair play. AF? Give me what your heart says, and then give me what you're really thinking. And if they line up, that'll be a good day for United fans.
It's the same thing right now. Like I think it's a 3-1 Villa. Like our attacking threat is basically gone with Ahmad and Mbuemo after the AFCON. And Sheshko, he still hasn't announced himself at all yet in any way. And he's just back from injury now, so there's a lot of rustiness over there. So yeah, I don't know where our goals will come from apart from Bruno Fernandes and Mateus Cunha.
Okay, so you got 3-1. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a Villa. I think it's gonna be a Villa like 3-2. Yeah, I just think that United set up better away from home. They have better structure going into games where they're not the favorites. It's a very weird thing, right? They let the team control and they're able to then launch that counters. I think that Villa will score a few just because United lead, but they can also concede because they're not the best defensively. They conceded a lot of chances against West Ham and even against Arsenal. Maybe the finishing wasn't as clinical. So, yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, I think it's a Villa win. I think it's just up to United whether they can stop that train because Unai is moving at a rapid pace there. But yeah, the other game we did select to preview is not Newcastle and Chelsea because, yeah, the early kickoff, and I think I'm secretly thinking Eddie Howe is going to sneak a win there. We want to look at Spurs and Liverpool. So Pool just recently winning a few games after not winning a lot. Spurs having just lost against Nottingham Forest. Also going to be losing a few players, one or two players, if I'm not mistaken, to the AFCON. If they're playing at home, they lose against Liverpool, do you think that marks the end of Thomas the Tank prank?
I think the panic stations will arrive if he's chilling in relegation zone with about, if it's around like March and he's still hovering a point or two above relegation zone, then I think that they'll make a change. I don't think that they change anything right now. Obviously, they trust him enough to take this team forward. They've backed him with quite a few signings in the summer. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of teething issues. Like we saw that with Amorim last season, finishing 15th in his first season. So, and then now he's about like 3 points off the top four, 3 points behind top four. So yeah, I think like they'll back him, and if push comes to shove around March, April time, and you don't see any sort of improvement, and the risk of the club getting relegated becomes too real, then I think that they will. But for right now, I think that he should be okay. A loss against Liverpool, they are one of the bigger teams in the league, so it won't be like all panic stations and acting with haste from the management or the hierarchy.
Now, fair play. Zips, I want to ask you quickly just about Liverpool. You had mentioned earlier, we had spoken about that right-hand side that seems to be non-existent at the moment. Firstly, they don't have a right back that can play right back besides Conor Bradley. But then again, his hamstrings are probably manufactured in the same department as Reece James's. With Salah gone, Szoboszlai now, the midfielder that normally plays right back, who do you think solidifies that right-hand side? And do you think the threat comes centrally with Hugo Ekitike, who's been in a bit of form? Or is it actually Ekitike, Gakpo, and maybe Isak?
Yeah, I think Gakpo was injured the weekend, so that right side is cursed, I think, at the moment since Trent left on a free. Guys that are going in there are just getting injured. So I don't know. I think probably the answer is going to have to be Curtis Jones again on the right, unless they find someone to play three at the back, which I don't think they will.
They
But
played Indo there also a couple of times.
But this guy Slot hasn't really given Indo any minutes. So
Indo's injured as well, isn't he?
I agree with you. I was thinking about that.
Oh, okay.
But I think they could manage out their front line. Just the back's a bit of an issue. Ekitike is in good form. He's just in the right place at the right time. His movement is good. His link-up play is good. I thought he had a very good game on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think obviously the right back, they'll find a body to put in there and just try to make it work, I guess.
Yeah. It seems like it's tough. I'm not going to claim that I watch a lot of Liverpool, despite other beliefs saying
Hate
maybe
watching,
otherwise,
maybe?
right? No, 100%. And I actually did hate watch a bit. And Brighton was so close. There were so many chances that skimmed the upright or just past the upright. And it's Liverpool are they're conceding a lot of chances, and that right hand side being weakened now is not going to help Konate, who plays on that right hand side as well. Spurs have that gene in them, they will just show up to this Liverpool game and either get 3 red cards and lose the game 4-5-1, or they'll be able to take the game to Liverpool and they'll be able to get a positive result. I think we've seen a few games in recent times where Spurs have turned up. And probably I'd say the best thing going for Spurs would be that left-hand side and maybe Xavi Simons drifting into that space. So definitely an area for concern for Liverpool, especially if Slot can't figure out who's going to be starting at the right back. I think there's Riaz has definitely put a curse on that right back slot because, the right back that was there isn't even playing for Real Madrid. So I think whatever black magic or dark magic Riaz has worked with, it seems to be working. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see whether Chiesa plays on the right. That seems a flat 4-4-2. More and more, in today's game, I think Sean Dyche is just being proved more and more correct, right? There's no need to complicate things. Go with a flat 4-4-2, get 2 men up front, one that's mobile, one that's maybe not as mobile, and just go get the ball wide, put the ball in, and score some goals. That is, I think it's going back to the basics. None of these inverted fullbacks that Riaz loves so much. But yeah, let's maybe just get a prediction before we go off to the last section. Ziad, what are your thoughts? The game is at Spurs' home ground, Liverpool. I'm not sure what their form away from home is, but yeah, what are your thoughts on that, and what's the prediction for us?
I think games like this is where Spurs actually do some crazy stuff. When, like Riaz said earlier, one of his comments was, "There's no way Spurs can win," or something along those lines, and that's
Yeah,
the games that they tend to win, and they don't do the other stuff. So,
yeah,
I think your logic would say Liverpool come out winners. The 3 points more likely than a draw.
yeah,
But I think this guy's coaching for his job, Thomas Frank, because
Yeah.
if he doesn't
yeah,
get a few good results in the next 2 weeks, I think he's probably out early in the new year. The only thing keeping them from firing him, I think, currently is the cost of paying him out along with the other guys that they've sacked,
yeah,
and that they're currently on the hook for paying. So
yeah.
I think Spurs pull out a win here. Um, I'm going to go 3-2.
3-2 Spurs. Lots of goals in it. I'm gonna give mine the AF. I'm gonna go 2-1 Spurs. I think in a game like this, you want your madmen to kind of make things normal, and I think that's what they have in Romero, and he might nullify Ekitike's presence. Whether Isak turns up, I do remember Van der Ven saying that at that time, Isak at Newcastle was the toughest opponent he's faced, so maybe Isak revels on that. AF, give me a prediction.
I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go for a draw in this one.
2-2.
But the
Okay.
most
Riaz is
influential
smiling.
player for Spurs
Okay.
will be Mickey van der Ven, because he's hoping that Slot will identify him as the next Dutch player to be signed by Liverpool. And that's my
Wow.
take.
That is, that's like, that's looking into the future. That's looking at all the possible outcomes and Doctor Stranging it. But that's okay. That's an interesting one, especially you move Virgil to the right and you go full Dutch backline. We've got a comment just from Riaz saying Frank will only be sacked in the summer as long as you don't get relegated. My friend, yeah, there's a meme going around. There's a rabbit that has like a stopwatch. I'm gonna put that there. But that is it's definitely an option. Especially since you guys finished 17th last season. So yeah, and that's just pure hatred that I'm speaking from. But yeah, let us know in the comments. Just we've got a few predictions that's come through. But yeah, if you are here and you have any predictions about the Liverpool Spurs, if you just joined us now, You've joined for an exciting part, but please do give us predictions. We've got Spurs against Liverpool and we've got Villa against United. Let us know. Ending off, it is the last episode of the year. We wanted to keep it light, we keep it fun, we keep it exciting. It is the Christmas season, so we are feeling a bit generous as well. So we're looking at the top 6 at the moment being Arsenal first, City, Villa, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, and United. So going into a very tricky time period of the year, sometimes, squads can get a bit thin. There are quite a number of injuries that are happening. So we're doing an early transfer window where we pick a player from the bottom 10 teams to kind of move up to the teams in the top 6 to kind of help them continue the form. Sorry, I'm just gonna, before we get there, Riaz has asked, what did I predict? I said a 2-1 to Spurs. And then Ramiz, last episode of the year. I don't know what you're gonna do next week, Wednesday, but maybe you can go visit some family. It is Christmas Eve. Essentially what we have planned is that we've got the top 6 teams and each of us will get 2 teams. We then get to either select 1 to 2 players per team, or not per team, but from the bottom 10 teams to kind of solidify or add some value to the 2 teams that we have. So as it stands, we've got AF that's looking after Arsenal and Man City. I will be looking after Villa and Chelsea, and then Ziad is going to talk about his lovely Man United and Crystal Palace. Right? So the bottom 10 teams that we'll be selecting from would be Spurs, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Leeds, West Ham, Burnley, and Wolves. So it might be a lot of teams to think about, but we have prepped for this. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go from 6 all the way up. Okay, so Ziad, luck of the draw and also luck of the order that I put it. You're going to start. So we're going to go with United. You can either pick 1 player from any of those teams. You can pick 2 players, or you can pick a manager and a player. Let me have it.
It's really simple. Elliot Anderson, Nottingham Forest. I think they need that type of midfielder that can go box to box.
It's a strong
They
pick.
can free up Bruno to play further forward. It also allows Casemiro to save his legs, which are already running out. I think that's probably the best bet from the other teams. I mean, you could look at different positions, maybe wing back or whatever, but for me, the clear standout is Elliot Anderson. Adam Wharton obviously is off the block because his Palace is 5th. So based on the options you gave me, I'm going to go with Elliot Anderson.
Lovely stuff. That's not a bad thing. Guys, are we okay if we do a snake format as we have before? AF, can I jump to you then, maybe just to get people engaging, right? So AF, you can give me somebody for Arsenal, and either, hopefully it's not a manager, because then me and you are gonna have beef. The same way Sadiq and Ziad have beef.
I'm gonna keep the Arsenal Fulham link going here, and I'm gonna pick Calvin Bassey as a centre back player. He just seems like an Arsenal player to me. He plays with a lot of flair. He plays like his passing range is really good. He's sort of like shithousery is really good as well, akin to like Gabriel. So I feel like he'll fit in like quite well over there. I don't know if you guys saw his run over the weekend against Burnley. He basically like replicated Maradona over there until the finish. And then you had Alex Iwobi this morning making a comment on that, saying that his ball arrived at the AFCON before the rest of the team did. So
fair play.
I think he will fit in really well at Arsenal, and I think right now Arsenal's defensive sort of vacancies with so many players injured, and I think Mosquera, Gabriel still out of it. Saliba's back, but yeah, I think you guys need all the help defensively that you can get.
Interesting that you selected a defender that conceded 6 in the last 2. But I suppose we'll have to take it, right? Okay, so that's AF done with Arsenal. But obviously would work a bit better. But I'm going to jump into mine. So I'm going Villa, being 3rd. Currently, they don't have the best defensive record. So I'm looking at Fulham. So I've got two players. One is Anderson, not Elliot Anderson, but Anderson from Fulham as the defender. I think they're kind of missing that sort of controlling presence in the back. And then, yeah, maybe because I have a soft spot for him, and also there's a pattern here of Arsenal players going to Villa, Ramsdale, just because I think he needs a consistent run of games. Emi Martinez seems to be more cold than he is hot, and Bizot, we saw what happened against Brighton, and we also saw what happened against West Ham if he did play. So yeah, I've got those two players. I've got Anderson and I've got Ramsdale going to Villa to kind of show up their defense, because I think they've conceded an unhealthy amount of goals. Not maybe too many, but they could probably tighten it up. They probably looks like they're fourth, maybe joint fifth, but yeah, it's more than what Unai Emery normally concedes. So yeah, we'll go with that. Zips, we're going to jump back to you now with Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, I think, interesting because they probably need backup for Mateta. They might, they could do with an attacking midfield or so. But I'm thinking ahead, thinking that they might lose Gay in the off season, if not in January, if they want to cash in, which I doubt they will, because then they'd have done it before. But thinking of that centre back and just trying to prepare, I look at Newcastle and when they announced their lineup this past weekend, they left Fabian Shaw on the bench. So he might be there for the taking. And I think he could fit in nice at Palace, because speaking of Anderson, Joachim Anderson, you spoke about him. He actually left Palace to go to Fulham.
Yeah.
And he was a very good pairing with Gay. So to kind of replace that experience, I'm going to say Fabian Shaw of Newcastle to Palace.
Nah, that's fair. That's actually it's a good shout. And I mean, if Nikita's watching, where she might find herself in the world, she always used to like Shaw. So yeah, maybe you'll fit in that South London club as well. AF, I'm gonna jump to you now, Man City. Not that they need anybody. They've got Foden, Shirky, Haaland firing on all cylinders. Is there somebody they can add?
Yeah, so there were actually a couple of players that I looked at for this one. The first one was, I know I'm only supposed to pick one, but I wanted to pick Murillo because that they were leaking goals, and I feel like he's a very good, a very Pep Guardiola type player. His passing range, his long balls, everything. It's very much like a player that fits into that system. But I think the player that they need more than anything right now is a Rodri replacement. And Nico Gonzalez, he's been doing okay, but there's been a lot of times when he gives the ball away and stuff like that. Sandro Tonali, if there's ever been a Pep Guardiola style player that can sort of work a midfield and work his magic in midfield, I think he will slot in that the heart of that midfield really well. And I think City will look a much stronger team with him sitting in front of that defense than Nico Gonzalez does.
Nah, that's fair. I mean, if City were in the bottom half, I'd say they can maybe go after the Shiny Reinders, because he hasn't played, and he might be a good addition to that team. But yeah, I think Tonali, if he is going back, we've got a sort of an inception here happening. But Ziad Parker 7 is saying that Tonali going back to Serie A, I'm told. Is it the same reason? Are they finding out that there's a betting scandal and they now want to sell him off and get him out before he and Ivan Toney and Paqueta all get leaked,
Nah, he just wants to go home, bro. Simple.
Homesick.
Well, if he's homesick,
him and his other half.
And they
because at Newcastle at the moment it's raining, and it's gonna rain for 4 hours straight. Tomorrow it's the same. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just rain. So the man wants to go back to Italy. I'm told his family wants to go back. So let's see if it comes to fruition.
Nah, that's fair. That's fair. It's also like one of those times it kind of gives me a bit of PTSD when you're playing FIFA. One of your star players wants to go home. He says he's homesick, and then he signs for your rivals. And I'm like, bruh, you moved in the same league. You said you want to go home, so go back to your league. And then used to hurt me. You hurt me quite a bit. But okay, that brings me up then for Chelsea. So this is an interesting one because, I mean, what do you give somebody that's spentable and that has a squad that could rival most teams? But I think in the summer, when they let Nicholas Jackson go to bring in João Pedro and Liam Delap, they lost a sort of focal point. You brought in one striker who actually should technically be studying Conor McGregor's movements. And then you brought in a striker that could actually be playing in the midfield more than he could be playing a striker. So I think to add a focal point and somebody to maybe hold the ball up and bring in the speed that they have and allow Cole Palmer to cook, Voltemade. The sort of role that he's playing for Newcastle is that holds the ball up, gets it wide, brings in the speedy wingers, but he's also really creative. So that's sort of what Chelsea's currently missing. And I think the decision to let Nicholas Jackson go is one that didn't really pan out the way they probably wanted to. Maybe in the first few games, João Pedro looked good, and then Liam Delap for the few cameos. I think Voltemade is the guy for them. He'll add that height. He'll also be able to maybe alleviate some of the pressure that Enzo Fernandez has in build-up. And also Caicedo, if he's asked to do too much, he kind of malfunctions and then kicks somebody and gets sent off. So, yeah, you just go over their heads, play to Voltemade, drops it to Palmer and gets wide. Standard. That's something that you can practice. Literally, you can put cones there and you can work that sort of movement and it'll work. So, yeah, that was my selection. Some really good picks, lads. Surprised nobody went for a manager, but I think, again, United need Glasner, and Glasner's kind of in fifth ahead of United. And I don't think there's any managers that would possibly elevate the teams that are in sixth from the teams that are in the bottom. So, yeah, I think that was good. That is my spiel. I did used to coach, albeit fives, albeit under 7 to under 9. But as you can see, I had those guys working hard. I had a tall guy, lanky, playing, getting the ball wide. So it's all cross sectional. It can go from under 7 all the way to Prem football. So it works. But that kind of wraps up 148, the last episode of the year. It's been a crazy year. It's been one that we are so appreciative of. We've grown. We've had some different fans join the chat. We've had the same. We've had the reliables. Ramiz, genuinely, I don't know what you're going to do next week, but please let us know. If you need support, I can free up some time. Obviously, these two are at our Dubai headquarters, so maybe they won't be able to get in touch, but please do reach out to us. From Parker and Parker, where can the people find you? If are you going to be taking a break, or you still posting on the comic front?
I haven't posted on the comic front in a while. Just been a bit burnt out, but yeah, in the new year, definitely will be posting from that sort of content again. But yeah, AF Parker 642 on all social media platforms. But give our video a like from the weekend, the C Point video. Some really cool takes over there. Check if you know anybody in those videos. Some really great characters that we had the pleasure of having conversation with. So yeah, drop a like, drop a share on that video. We really appreciate that.
100%. And also, if you watch the video, if you haven't seen it, and I'm hoping that everybody that's watching has seen it already. If you haven't seen it and you see there's a lot of United fans and you maybe support Chelsea, sorry, then maybe you should come. When we advertise it, maybe you should show up. And we can give you a pat on the back for supporting us. Ziad, where can the people find you? Are you going to be taking a bit of a break?
Now we push through, bruh. I can't activate Ghost Protocol. There's a lot of sport happening in the next couple of weeks, so we'll try and keep it updating as we go along. So yeah, I'll be around.
Lovely stuff. And if you like this video, obviously please like, share, subscribe. If you like what we did on Sunday as well, you can also like, share, subscribe. Let us know if some of the takes were a bit off. We would like to have you there and maybe have your take, because apparently people don't like to be interviewed. But we will be doing a few more things in the new year. We'll be doing a few more of those sort of type segments, but also a few more live interactions. So please watch the space. That is going to be coming soon. We are at Sportycast. I'm at Jason_Ronnie. as some of the comments says, I do have a busy festive period, but that's because there's a lot of football, and yeah, there is a lot of family to see. So yeah, please do keep in touch. We are going to be trying to keep up to date with all the posts and all the sport that is happening. So follow us, and yeah, it's been a great year, and we do appreciate all the love and support, and we'll catch you in the new year. Peace.